What's going on here? Somewhat mystified by the man's dress, the youth politely informed him a wedding was in progress. The colonial gentleman appeared displeased. He stamped up the steps and into the house, and he vanished as he did so.
Standing in Albemarle County for a goodly number of years, Castle Hill, a stately old mansion, said to have a spirit which leaves a scent. The former lady of the house is said to occasionally pay a visit, but only when the owners entertained at dinner, and then she would leave a marvelous psychic perfume.
A ghost that hasn't been heard from in years, apparently, is that of old Governor James Lawson Kemper, Virginia's chief executive in the 1870s. It's said he used to make himself known by the violent rocking of his chair in his Walnut Hill home near Orange, and that at times, Kemper would stomp through the house with a pronounced limp from an old wound.
For many years, family and guests at the Shirley Plantation would hear sounds of chairs rocking and scraping in the attic. Many searches were made, but never was anything or anyone found. And once during an attic search, a member of the family noticed a fine portrait lying over there in the dust. She picked it up and wiped it off, and found it to be the sister of the man who had built that home. The portrait of Martha Hill. It was carried downstairs, cleaned, and given a place of belonging. And since that time, no one has ever again heard the rocking or scraping or other strange noises that once emanated from the attic at Shirley.
There are those who believe Benjamin Harrison IV still is around. He lived at the large Berkeley plantation on the James in Charles City County. Harrison, a direct descendant of the president by the same name, along with two of his daughters, were killed by lightning as Harrison attempted to lower an upstairs window during a violent thunderstorm. Now, some say that for no apparent reason the window may be seen to open or close by itself.
In the 1730s, the stately mansion known as White Marsh was constructed in Gloucester. And in its history are three distinctly different accounts of strange visitors. Many years ago, one of the owners told of the time he returned from a trip, tired and weary, expecting to find the place unoccupied and closed as he'd left it. Instead, he found it ablaze with lights. He even heard sounds of music and reverie emanating from inside. A party? He was completely mystified. But once inside, he found nothing. No evidence that any party had been planned, let alone hastily abandoned upon his arrival. Several years later, there's the tale told by the White Marsh butler and his wife. They swear to having seen an old lady on several occasions rocking in a chair in their bedroom at night. One of the most fascinating stories connected with White Marsh happened in the middle of the night. The wife of an owner was awakened by the sound of someone walking in the attic above the bedroom. Her husband awoke to the sound. So did the daughter down the hall. When the husband started upstairs, the sound became even more clear and distinct. Someone was now running across the attic floor, jumping out the window. The woman actually heard someone land on the porch outside her bedroom. When she looked out into the night, Nothing. Yet she could hear what sounded like someone landing on the ground below, and a horse galloping away from the house. In the much revealing light of the next morning, the woman and her husband discovered deep imprints of an animal with cloven hooves neath the bedroom window leading away from the home. Something else strange. That attic window was small. It hadn't been opened in years and was still closed.
There's an account of a strange case connected with a young lieutenant in the U.S. Army at the time of the Mexican War. No news had come from this young man, a member of a prominent Richmond family, when at 5 o'clock one morning, he was awakened and saw the young brother standing at the foot of the bed. "Why, James," cried the astonished brother, "when did you return?" "Major Smith will see you later and tell you all about it." And with that, the officer turned, walked through the door, and vanished into the hall. Startled and amazed, the brother sprang from the bed. He rushed into the passageway but found no one. And down the stairs he ran and out into the garden. But never a trace of his soldier brother. The youth had been in uniform, had spoken in natural voice. He looked mortal, but well, in due time, a Major Smith did arrive. He informed the family that the young lieutenant had died in service to his country. The time of death had been 5 o'clock in the morning. On the same day, the lieutenant had appeared before his brother.
Richmond Revisited continues in a moment on WLEE.